Hello and welcome to Conversations with Grace. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Grace.
I have a special guest today, and her name is Renee Hasseldine, and she's the CEO of Share Your Passion, and she's going to be telling you all about that. So, can you just go back a little bit in time and tell us about how this journey all started for you, how you got into this business of helping businesses?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Grace. Thanks for having me. It started, my own business journey started about 19 years ago. I've been running my own business for almost 2 decades. And it kind of started, well, I guess I kind of have to go back even further because I did accounting and finance at Melbourne Uni, and I got into the corporate world, and I was doing the whole corporate thing, ticking all the boxes, thinking, well, I should do this and I should do that.
Yep.
And then I actually kind of hit rock bottom because I realized I was kicking all the goals, but I wasn't actually feeling the love. It didn't light me up. So I'd bought the house, I bought the car, I had a job title, I had the salary, the mahogany desk with views overlooking the MCG, all these things that I thought were going to make me happy, and they didn't. And so I had this kind of awakening, I need to have more meaning in my life. And so I left the corporate world and I started my own consulting business. And whilst it has evolved over the years, I'm still running that consulting business 19 years later. So, that's kind of how I got into what I do. It was basically it was probably what you could say a life or death situation. I had to leave for the sake of my own life. Yeah.
Your own sanity too.
Sanity in life. Yeah, pretty much. So, and now I do what I do. I mean, and that's kind of, the reason behind, my business is called Share Your Passion. And that's because I firmly believe that the work we do should be driven by our passion and our love. Like, if there's no purpose and passion in it, why bother? Like, what is the point? If I'm going to be spending time away from my gorgeous kids and my husband, then it better be for a really good reason.
Yes.
And so that's, what I love about my work is that I only do work that I love, and I work with people who are experts at what they do, who are passionate about what they do, to help them monetize that so that they only have to do the stuff that they love as well. And that's kind of, it does come from that big awakening I had, 2 decades ago. And I just don't want anyone else to feel that horrible feeling that I had.
Yeah, so you're spreading the love and paying it forward and teaching other people to get that freedom as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what is it specifically that you do? Tell us all about it. Because
Yeah,
I've had a quick look at the website and watched a little video here and there, but that's about it. So tell me all about it.
Yeah, so my particular flavor, my zone of genius, is visual models. So I am totally turned on by taking what is in someone's brain, which is, so you ask someone, what do you do? And they're like, oh, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and it's like this verbal diarrhea. I like to take that verbal diarrhea and turn it into some sexy visual models. So essentially I've got a 4-model system. So we take all the knowledge out of someone's brain, we organize it into 4 different pictures, and then we use those pictures to weave and tell a story, which helps experts then to sell what they do, market what they do, to onboard team members in their business to do what they do. It feeds into every area of someone's business as they want to scale and expand it. And it just means that we don't die with the music in our heads.
Great, that's awesome. And I love that. I just love what you're saying because I'm very visual as well.
Yep.
If you could see my office right now, I have got, an easel there with butcher paper because I have to write. There's too many things in my head, so I have to, do some mind mapping. I've got my vision board. I've got all my podcasts, set out and everything. So it's a great thing to do so that you can see and plan out and schedule and organize your life, basically. It's great, isn't it? So
yes.
how do you specifically help businesses? Do you go out to their businesses or do you do this all online? How does it work?
Well, in times of coronavirus, we're all online.
Yes.
And the majority of my business, full disclosure, the majority of my business was online before it had to be. However, I was still doing, what I call my extraction days, where I actually work with an expert and we together take everything out of their brain and turn them into those 4 pictures. They ideally are done face to face because we get Post-it notes out and we're putting things all over the wall.
Love
and
it, love it.
it's a hands-on full body experience, right? And so I've had to adjust and find ways to do that effectively in Zoom. And we've had plenty of clients coming through the last few months doing the extraction days via Zoom, and I'm refining my ways and finding new tools that are replacing my Post-it notes. So it's
Yes.
we do what we can with what we've got, right? And
we evolved
and clients are really still thrilled, and they're still getting the outcomes. The only I think downside to me is it's not as much fun.
You don't have that interaction.
I think I do love that feeling of being in the room with someone and just creating magic. That is, it does drive me. It does feel fun, and we still get the same outcome, but it's the kind of the fun along the way. If we're grabbing coffees together and Post-it noting and having a bit of a dance and doing high fives, and there's that kind of experience, I think, of working together in the same room. That's a little bit different, but apart from that, the actual process and the outcome is the same now that we're doing it all online. So
I guess would you find that you might get to see more people now online as adverse to what you were doing before, because you may have had to travel more to get to those people, like scheduling time, would you say?
I mean, I was doing 4 national tours a year up until May 2019. So, I was seeing a lot of people then, but I stopped. That's like a year ago now since I stopped those tours. So, but I've had a year of, transitioning into doing more stuff online and less traveling. So, I'd say I'm probably seeing a similar amount of people, like, although, our sales actually in the last 2 months have gone up. So we're kind of in a very privileged position where, for some reason, this is what the current situation is playing to our advantage. So I've got hypotheses about that, but I don't really know, why. We're the lucky ones. There's been a bit of confronting my own privilege, Grace. I don't know. I do feel very, very lucky and grateful for the position that I'm in my business and that my family's in at the moment. We are some of the lucky ones, and I also acknowledge that not everybody is in the same boat as us, and so there's that needing to be compassionate, I think, too.
That's right. Yeah. I suppose with your client, going back to your clients too, you would probably spend the same amount of time with them that you would normally if you were with them personally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they still get the same amount of me and the same yeah. Although probably I am a little bit more accessible in some ways because I am spending less time traveling to and from clients and that sort of thing. So it's probably a little bit of that.
What sort of feedback have you got from them? What sort of testimonials,
Oh, wow.
Give me an example. Just one. I know there'll be thousands, but
I had to ask, actually. So Wednesday I ran an extraction day with a boutique marketing agency, and there were 3 people from their team in the room in the Zoom room, and so we spent 7 hours in the Zoom room together on Wednesday extracting their 4 models. It was an epic day, a great outcome. And then one of the 3 people sent me they all actually sent me an email after that, saying how fabulous it was. But one of them said something, it was AFGW. It was an acronym I've never come across before. And I spent a while, I Googled it. I'm like, what is AFGW? No. What is AFGW? I was racking my brain. What is this? And I couldn't work it out. So I had to actually write back to him and say, thanks for the awesome, the awesome feedback. But can you please tell me what AFGW is? And he said, an effing great workshop.
I love it. That is
And he also said something like, I've never been in a workshop for 7 hours. It felt like 4 hours. This is going to help us to fly. And that's the thing is, once people it's so hard for people to understand how powerful creating this intellectual property is until you've actually done it, because
Right, yeah.
once it's done, you realize, oh, this is going to transform the whole business. Everything is going to be streamlined. We're going to work smarter, not harder. We're going to make more money, work less. And everyone just realizes once they've done it, they're just like, oh, penny drops. Holy moly, this changes everything. And it is. Hence the name of my second book, which is Game Changer, because this stuff really is. Look, plug.
Yeah, I was going to plug it later, but that's okay. You can do it now. Doesn't matter. She couldn't wait.
Shameless plug. Well, it was just a natural segue, right? I wasn't meaning to, I promise.
I love it.
But it really is a game changer because as experts, often what we know, we've got decades of experience and we know what we know. There is so much complexity to that. Like inside our brains is like this gorgeous web of brilliance and knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
How do you take that out and share it to with someone who has none of your experience and knowledge without completely drowning them?
Yes, it's a gift. It's actually a gift to have that teaching knowledge, the ability to teach someone.
Yes, yeah.
Because we have the tendency, because we know all about our field, we'll just blurt it out and they'll go, I don't understand what one word you're saying.
Yep, exactly.
Sorry, explain that again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Like that's for me, a lot of the time what I'm doing is demystifying the jargon and the language. And often I'll have to ask a client the same question 5 times before they've got through all the blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, that's what I needed to hear. Thank you. That's the piece of gold I need. Got it.
Oh my God.
And that's my job. My job is to look for the gold, to look for the awesome key pieces of information, find the remarkable and shine the light on it, to just so that people can, an expert can stand up, use these 4 models, and in 5 minutes, their audience can understand exactly what they do and how they can help them. And that's what I love about this work.
It sounds wonderful, because I know, because I'm so visual, a lot of people aren't, but I'm assuming that they can actually see, because it's out there, they can actually see what's going to happen with their business, and that must excite them. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want me to show you some pictures? Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Here's some I prepared earlier.
Where's your oven?
Too funny.
She's going to share.
Here we go. All right. So yeah, I've mentioned this term visual models. Yep. And so this is basically coming up on the screen now. These are some examples of what I mean when I say visual models. So essentially what it is a simplification, a clear and succinct way to communicate complex ideas.
Okay.
So yes, that was just a whole bunch of different client examples coming up. But for each visual model, what we're trying to do is get a message across, and then the models are like a metaphor, right? The shapes are important. The branding is important. Each model needs to be in your own branding for your business, etc. And then we actually have 4 different types of models. So one of the main problems that people face when they think, oh, I need to take what's in my head and turn it into a picture, one of the mistakes people make, because they dump everything into one picture, and that becomes a dog's breakfast.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What I've actually learned is that there are 4 different types of information. So when we pull it out, we want to channel it into these 4 different shapes. And that's where I've got this lovely acronym to help you remember. There are 4 different types of models. So
I love acronyms. Yes, helps me remember everything.
And how sexy is this one?
Very. I wish I had that body, but anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. So the first type of model is a success model. So Grace, if you think about, are you a baker?
No.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you mean as in cooking? Like I love.
Do you like to bake? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love baking. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Right. So imagine you're baking the most delicious cake you've ever baked in your life.
Mm-hmm.
The success model is, what are the ingredients that we're going to put into that cake?
Yep.
So your success model is your ingredients list, or it's your success criteria for your clients. So to create this model, you want to know, okay, for my clients, first, who are my ideal clients, and what does success look like for them? And so first we need to be clear about that. And then we think, well, what are the obstacles that get in the way of them achieving that success? And therefore, on the flip side of that, what are the the key ingredients for success. And so this is where we're going to give them the ingredients in their recipe.
Okay.
And so, for example, for my clients, a lot of the time they're running expert-based businesses, they're professional services. So you might have an accountant or a lawyer or, a marketing agency. And what they're trying to do is to scale up their business. They're going from, maybe they want to expand to more geographic locations, or maybe they've been just working one-on-one with their clients and they want to start running more group style things, or run workshops, or be on stage and do things like that. And so to scale up their business, there are 4 key levers that they can pull on. They can have more people doing the work. They can have products such as books or online courses that mean that they can expand, or they can implement better systems that help them to expand, or they can have the intellectual property assets, which I help them to create, which actually helps them to speed up and accelerate all 4 of those things. So those are the 4 kind of key levers they can pull on to expand and scale their businesses. So that's an example of a success model. This is another example here where we've got Elaine Hendrick, who is a consultant working in the not-for-profit sector. So she works with organisations to help them actually focus on outcomes. So a lot of the time what happens with organisations is what they are used to reporting and monitoring and tracking is how many participants do we have in the program. So, for example, you might have, we're running a program for people with disabilities and we had 100 people in the program. And so they would measure that as a kind of, something they would report on. But what Elaine helps people to focus on is actually measuring outcomes, which is, well, yes, you had 100 people in the program, but how many lives were changed? Of those people, how many reported that things were actually better? So
yeah.
it's one thing to be in the program, but what if it makes no difference? So
well, you need that feedback.
Elaine helps people to actually focus on outcomes-based reporting, making sure that you're focusing on making a difference rather than just doing busy work.
Yes.
And so that's really, really cool. So these are the 4 key ingredients that her clients need to master to actually shift towards that outcomes-focused reporting.
That is amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Then the second type of model is the educate model. So this one, if we go back to our analogy of the recipe, and in that first model, we're talking about it being the ingredients list in your recipe. This educate model is now the method. This is the actions and the doing. So we're going to do this and do this.
Yeah.
And for people in a service-based business or an expert-based business, our job in a service business is we make things better. A client comes to us because they're in pain. They've got a problem and we take them from crap to good. Like that's it. Our job is to turn crap into good.
Love it.
And so the educate model is, what is our step-by-step process to get them from crap to good? So, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. And so the educate model needs to focus on actions and doing and verbs.
Fantastic. Love it so far. Awesome.
So for example, and a lot of the time with an educate model, we're going to have a linear shape. It's going to go left to right because that's how our brains like to work.
Yes.
And we're going to have numbered because it's step by step. The order matters. It's a chronological order. And we do this, then we do this, we do this, we do this. And so this is my 5-step process for creating a visual model. First, we extract everything out of someone's head. And so this is like a big brain dump. And then we've got this like pool of information.
Which
so then
we
we
have
take
to
that
work
pool of
out.
information and we chunk it and we organize it.
Yes.
And then we draft it into a picture. Then we present it, because you need to actually present the model before it's in actually talking through the model out loud to an audience that you realize which bits are clunky. So that step 4 is really, really important. And then at step 5, that's when we actually go to the graphic design stage and get, a graphic designer to make it look sexy and professional. So that's kind of an example of step by step. This is what we do. We do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
That's an educate model. And here's another example of an educate model. So this is for a broking company, so Integrity Finance Australia. So I was engaged by a broker to actually help them put together a proposal because they wanted to be building a referral partnership with an accounting firm so that they would be their go-to, broker of choice for their commercial and personal lending stuff for their clients. And so this now is the example of this is how specifically Integrity Finance works with clients to deliver high quality service. So this is kind of their point of difference, is we have this 7-step process that is really client centric and focused on the clients to ensure the outcomes. So step-by-step process for those brokers on how they work and how they work together with the accountants to ensure that, it's a seamless service.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's interesting how it's a different point process for each business. They've obviously got different needs. And you can see this is a lending process. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is every single organization should have their own set of 4 models. Like it shouldn't have anything to do with anyone else. It needs, like, that's what makes it unique. That's your unique methodology. This is your point of difference.
Yes.
And so you don't want to copy anyone else. And we never look at, when I'm working with a client, I may have had 5, 10, multiple other clients in the same industry who do the same thing. I never, ever look at or consider any of those other clients when I'm creating with that client. I make sure that I'm extracting exactly what their specific way of doing it is and reflecting that in their methodology, so that there's no cross-contamination. It's their intellectual property.
It's tailored specifically for that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And they need to own it as well. So yeah, you're right. It needs to be very unique to each organization. Yeah. So that was the second model. And then the third type of model is the excite model. So this one's like to get people excited. This one is more evocative and emotive. So whereas the educate model we just looked at is about the actions and the doing, that's pretty practical, right? It's grounded and it's practical. It's, very linear. It's not very exciting. The excite model now, this is about, well, we're going to show people possibilities. And so we can do that by using a bit of a hero's journey structure. So are you familiar with the classic hero's journey, Grace?
No.
With storytelling, like a Disney movie, for example, or any movie for that matter, will follow this kind of hero's journey scenario where you have an opening. There's like the beginning of the story. Then there's a bit of a build up, and then there's boom, this massive complication, right? There's a big problem, and then there's a resolution, and then there's a happy ending, right? It's a really classic storytelling structure, if you like, and we can use exactly that sort of structure to deliver a case study story for a model like this. So the excite model, I can use this model. This is one that I've used in my own business. I can use this model here to tell my personal story of how I started up my business, progressed, maxed out at one-on-one, was a bit exhausted, felt a bit like Groundhog Day, and I wanted to transition into something a bit more exciting. I made that transition into, my leveraged model now of working, and now leveraging and loving it, working less, earning lots more money, having heaps more fun in my business. And so I can use this model to tell my story, but I can also use this model to tell in third person, to tell a case study of a client story as well. So we can use this model then. And then what happens is as the expert presents their own excite model, the audience does a self-assessment. The audience will look at this model and go, oh yeah, I'm maxed out. I'm pretty exhausted working one-on-one. I am fully, like I've hit a ceiling with my income, and I have bigger aspirations. I want to reach more people. Right? So they can see I'm there at maxed out, and they go, yeah, I would totally love to be up the top.
Yes.
And so what happens to human nature when they see a gap? You know this, Grace, with your success coaching, right?
Yeah.
What does human nature want to do when we see a gap?
Fix it.
We want to close it, don't we?
We want to close the gap.
We want to close the gap. And so that's the cool thing that happens without us telling them to do that. The audience does this when they see a model like this. They see where they want to be. They see excitement and potential in what's possible. Yeah. And then they can set that, they're setting that as a goal in their heads. I know you love goals.
Yes.
They're setting a goal in their head. I want to be leveraged and loving it. And then they're also going, okay, well, how close am I to that? Right. And I need to get through that transition. Oh, I also see in transition that the dollars gets less. Hold on, what's going on there?
Yes, that's true.
Why does the money go down when you're transitioning from maxed out one-on-one to this kind of dream? What's that all about? And so I can use this model as well to name the elephant in the room and say, well, if you've been maxed out all your billable hours, at maxed out, you know, you're at capacity. If you're going to start creating new products and intellectual property, you're going to have less billable hours in transition, right? That's just, there are only so many hours in the day, right?
That's right.
So we can name the elephant in the room there and say, your income is likely to drop in transition. So the smart thing to do is to get through that transition as fast as you can.
As fast as possible.
Yeah. And so you see how we can use a model like this to help people understand the urgency of doing this well and accelerating through.
It's great. It's so visual that people would definitely look at that and go, I'm in that block there. Yeah. I'm in that block there. What can I do to get to up there? Yeah,
exactly.
So the mind's already churning.
Yeah. And from the expert's point of view as well, they can then use a model like this to deliver huge amounts of content marketing pieces, social media posts. You know, you can do a post that talks about how do you get from startup to progress? How do you get from progress to max out? How, you know, each of those bits.
Yes.
Right? You can have so much content based on these models, and everything that you do in your business, all the content you produce should be based on your models, because then it's consistently on message. Yes. And then the audience, the world knows exactly what it is that you do, what you stand for, and how you can help them, right? There's zero confusion in the marketplace about how you help.
You're definitely very clear.
Yeah.
Definitely very clear on what you do.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for them to understand, I think, too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. This is just another example of an Excite model for another client. So this is Anne Alexson, who helps people through their spiritual development. And
lovely.
This is so obviously you can see now. So the other examples I was showing were more corporate in their branding and their look and feel. But it doesn't matter what it is that you do. If you're helping people get from crap to good, you can use models like this to help things feel more tangible. I mean, often when you're working with someone in spiritual development, it feels a bit woo-woo and it's intangible and it's hard to explain. Yep. But how cool that you have an expert in this area who can actually show you what they're going to take you through. Because, you know, Anne actually works with those people who've done heaps of personal development work. And then there's like this missing piece and they're like, God, I've done all this work. Why is there still this one thing that keeps eluding me? And she helps to just unlock that last bit and to activate awakening and then ultimate power. So that is super, super cool, right? She can very quickly use this model to filter out the people who she doesn't want to work with and who she does want to work with. Because if you're at the beginning of your personal development journey, well, you're not ready for her yet, because she's helping people just through that last bit, right?
Okay. Yep. I see. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And so usually, and so also you can see that the beginning of this story, for when she tells a case study, is about a client who is already a success story. They're already a success in the world's mind, right? So again, you can use this when you're using this model as to tell a case study or your own story. You can be using it to filter out the non-ideal clients, the people who you really don't want to work with. Yeah. So Anne's very, very clear that she wants to work with successful people who have done lots of personal development work. And so we can make sure that we communicate that in the models.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
model.
The fourth and final model, this is about having your client saying, yes, 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 to working with you.
Oh my God.
See, I couldn't do that in corporate. That's why I left. I can't wait to go back in and do that.
Okay.
So this model, we want to show people what are the benefits. We're answering that question, what's in it for me? Why should I work with you? And so, you know, when I'm using this to weave in the story, I'll get to this, you know, we will have shown them how we work, what our step-by-step process is, what the keys to success are, what's possible. And then in this model, saying when you follow this step-by-step process, by proven process, these are the benefits. You get to have a more profitable business. You have, you know, the business is more sustainable. You've reduced the risk of burnout. You've reduced the risk of, if, you know, you as the business owner are sick, the rest of the team can still continue to run the business while you're, you know, unavailable. the world doesn't end. You can have a more scalable business. You can have other people coming in, and you can expand your reach and how many clients you can serve. And if you want to, you have an exit strategy. You can sell the business because it has actual value even without you as the expert there. And that's how you build a leverage legacy. So this is an example of a yes model that I use for my business. This explains the benefits of creating a signature system.
Amazing.
And then we can have this is another yes model example. So this is Stellar Partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
Stellar Partnerships work with not-for-profit organizations to help them get corporate sponsorships. And it's an area where a lot of organizations struggle because it doesn't work the same way as other fundraising. And so when they work with Stellar Partnerships, they get to attract the right partners that are more profitable, because a lot of the time they'll build these corporate partnerships that may get them a lot of publicity, but not necessarily bring in money.
The funding.
So we want to have profit as well. It's very important. But we also do want to build a profile. We want to make sure that we're getting out there and getting the publicity and building the profile of the organization. And then we want to attract people to work in our organization who are of the highest caliber. Mm-hmm. And that's how an organization gets to expand their impact using corporate partnerships and the Stellar Partnership method. So that allows us to kind of quickly summarize the benefits and why we would want to work with Stellar Partnerships and engage them to help with corporate partnerships if we're a not-for-profit organization.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, there you go. And then what we do is we then take the models and they get to then flow through everywhere, Grace. Like you would put them on your website. This is an example of a sales brochure that's just sort of flowing up here. It's actually Elaine Hendrick Consulting, who we looked at earlier. And we take the models and we put them into sales brochures, websites, online courses. Everything in our business becomes based then on this signature system, so that it's all streamlined. You're never reinventing the wheel, and you get to work smarter, not harder.
So do you do those brochures for her? Excuse me.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we create. So we understand that our clients are already busy because they come to us when they're already maxed out at capacity with their workload, and they want to expand and scale. And so they don't have the time to do this stuff on their own, or they're so busy just dealing with clients and deadlines and all that stuff that they can't prioritize this stuff. Yeah. So all they need to do is spend enough time with me that I can extract everything out of their brain, and then me and my team do all the work. So we create the models, we create the sales brochure, we create a free opt-in for them to use. So like we create a self-assessment basically that they can use as a lead magnet in their business. And yeah, we do it all for them. We do it for them. We even create the slides for the next speaking gig. It's like boom, 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 done. Here's a Dropbox folder with your gorgeous, intellectual property assets, like a big present. It's like Christmas.
Oh my God. I love it. I love what you're doing. They must love it when once you come to them with the final product.
We have so because my team is all remote, we use Slack to communicate internally, and we have a channel called Wins, and it's just constantly full of feedback from clients and it brings tears to our eyes because they love it so much. And sometimes it's laughable how much love we get because it's like, here's another one. But it's great. We love our work. We love our clients. We love seeing them win. When our clients win, we win. It's really fulfilling, meaningful work. And that's what I set out to create when I started my own business and living the dream.
Oh, that's great. And I love the subject of people living their passion. And that's what I want for everybody, to create freedom by living their passion.
Yeah.
And quite a few episodes of the podcast is about that, about taking action, setting goals, affirmations, visualizations, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, and if you, especially in these times where unfortunately a lot of people lost their jobs, I know they're obviously very heartbroken, upset, but, in a way, look at it as an opportunity. It could be a new chapter for you. Maybe you weren't meant to, be stacking shelves at, supermarket. Maybe you were supposed to be doing something else. So it's about clarifying your life purpose. And once you find out what that is, there's quite a few steps involved in that too. I don't have visual aid for that. But once you find that, it's enlightening, because you think, oh my God, I could do this. I could monetize this particular thing that I am so good at. Why can't I do that? And people think that they just don't have the ability to do it, but they do. You might have to learn something new. You might have to do a course. You might have to whatever, but you can do it. Isn't that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, okay. So one of my questions was, what have been the repercussions of the recent events? But obviously your business is still thriving and it's doing really well.
Yes, we're very, very lucky, as I mentioned earlier. Just the last 2 months have been our strongest for 12 months. So
fantastic. Well done. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, fingers crossed it continues, right? I hope the world's not about to come crashing down on us, because I've got a team to pay.
That's right. Yeah. So tell me, what would you say are your top 2 favorite books that have empowered you? I knew you were going to laugh. Guess what Renee's going to say next?
Shameless plug.
I love it. Show us your 2 books, Renee. What are they called?
So I wrote this first one in 2015, Share Your Passion, and that's sort of, we've already kind of talked a little bit about that, but it tells this one. When I wrote this book, I was actually, my service offering was a bit broader. I wasn't just helping people develop their visual models. I was also helping them turn it into leverage products. So I was helping people create online courses and workshops and that sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
I now, I still give people the templates and resources to do that, but I don't, that's not the focus. The focus for me now is on the visual model. So that one's about, if you want to create an online course, if you want to write a book, then, that gives you your 7-step process.
Love it.
And then this one here is specifically about developing your intellectual property. Those 4 models we talked about today and looked at in the visuals. That's
called Game Changer.
Yeah. Game Changer.
What does it say? The 4 visual models you need for
clarity, clients, and cash.
Love it. I'm doing it for the benefit of the podcast listeners, because they can't see what you're holding.
Of course.
That's okay. And when did you write
3 years hosting a podcast? I should know better.
That's right. Renee had a podcast as well. So when did you write the last one?
Game Changer was. Did I write? Oh gosh, I'm trying to. It was launched in 2019, March 2019.
Oh, okay, terrific. I'll have to.
I wrote it in December 2018. So yeah.
How long did it take you? How long does it actually take you?
So this first book, the first draft was 2.5 days.
Fantastic.
This book here is 48 hours. Now, the reason I can create products like books super fast is because I've already done the hard work of creating the visual models. That's another benefit of the visual models themselves.
Yep.
When you've had someone help you do the hard work of that, well, that's actually all my IP right there.
Yes.
Then to actually write the book, well, just explain those 4 models and your book is written. It's like seriously fast.
Oh, that's amazing. Is it doing well?
Yeah, extremely well. The feedback on the books is off the charts. They're both bestsellers. They're both doing very well. So,
terrific. I'll have to investigate that now. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so what now for you? Have you got any, you know how I am with goals and that sort of thing?
Well, the silver lining for me in all of this as well is that I've always had in the back of my mind that my 4 model system, I plan to license that, because I can't reach the whole world. I can't, I've got 2 kids. I don't want to travel all over the world and I don't want to travel without my family, basically. I did that with my national tours. So, I want to license and certify people around the world to learn my 4 model system and to implement it in organizations all over the world. So I think this coronavirus situation and the lockdown has kind of, for some reason, it's made me bring that goal closer. Yeah. It was kind of a 5 or 10 year goal, and now I feel like it's 1 to 3. It feels like I feel like it's come closer just at the moment. So yeah, that's what's coming next. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, licensing and certification programs and that sort of thing it's a big, hairy, audacious goal, but I also feel like, you know, that's what's next for my IP. Yeah, that's my way of expanding and reaching more people, because there are so many applications and contexts where this 4-model system will work. So yeah, I can't play small with it.
Yeah, that's awesome, because you can help so many different types of businesses. Those models
Yeah.
will fit. You'll just make it fit.
Yeah, that's right.
Do some variations to each one. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on such a wonderful business and helping other businesses. It's great that you're paying it forward and helping people to succeed and achieve their business goals. That's great, Renee.
Thanks, Grace.
Well done. So lastly, how can people contact, what's the best way for people to contact you? Also, I will put a specific link under the YouTube. Once I post it, I'll put your link there. But what's the best way for people to contact you?
Well, I think the best thing to do, we've actually got we've just created this brand new, exciting, fun quiz on our website. So I think that's the best thing for people to do is go to shareyourpassion.com.au/scorecard. And you'll be able to go through and see how prepared are you to expand your business, your service-based business, and actually make more money and work less. So yeah, so it's a scalability scorecard, and it's a fun online quiz, and you'll get a report sent to you. And, you know, back in the day, I don't know if you ever read any of those teenage magazines, Grace, Cleo and Cosmo, and did you ever do those?
No, not really, not much.
You didn't do those little quizzes? I used to love doing those quizzes. Anyway, we all love doing quizzes about ourselves, surely.
Awesome.
So we wanted to create something fun, but also that's valuable. And we'll, even just through doing the quiz, you will start to see which things you need to be focusing on to help you expand your business and have a bigger impact. So yeah,
that's a great way to interact with people at the start. That's a great impression to have. So they go to your website and they complete a quiz.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's shareyourpassion.com.au/scorecard. Excellent. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Renee. That's been really informative. I love the work you're doing.
Thanks, Grace. Thank you so much.
I didn't even know that occupation was out there. So
no, well, that's the thing. If someone says, "What's your job title?" I'm like,
oh my God, well, where do I start?
Yeah, it's not like, you know, I can say doctor, everyone knows what it is, or you know, I can't say doctor or nurse or lawyer or accountant. Like everyone knows what they mean. Like no one knows what a visual model specialist means.
Yes, exactly. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll hope to talk to you again soon. And maybe in a year or so, we'll have another chat and see where your business is at and what you're up to.
Sounds great, Grace. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Renee.
Bye for now.
Bye.